Welcome to ByeO Barelands, a biodiversity strategy card game inspired by Singapore's mangroves and coasts. In this game, you're not just playing cards. You're rebuilding an ecosystem that was heavily damaged by human activity and racing to create the most stable, vibrant web of life. Every card in this deck is based on a real species with abilities drawn from actual behavior and ecology. Your job is to weave them together into powerful food chains and defend them from everyone else. Let's start by looking at a ByeO card. At the top, you'll see the common name and scientific name of the species. Each ByeO card has a type, like plant, insect, bird, reptile, mammal, fish, and more. It also has a diet, which tells you what it can eat, and habitat traits that show where it lives, such as mangrove mudflats, freshwater, urban, arboreal, aerial, or marine. You'll also see a residency status, native, migratory, visitor, or introduced, which reflects how that species appears in Singapore. On the bottom there's a tier, from 1 up to 5. Higher tiers usually represent higher level predators. At the center is the power point value. This represents the creature's power in the food chain, roughly linked to size and strength, but sometimes modified by the card's effect. Finally, each ByeO card has a unique effect, a special rule inspired by real ecological traits. Some support extra predators, some boost your score, and others mess with your opponents in creative ways. Besides ByeO cards, there are power cards. Power cards represent events, habitats, or human actions, things like high tide, nature reserves, invasive species blooms, and more. Unlike ByeO cards, power cards do not cost an action to play, and can usually be played at almost any time stated on the card. They bend the rules, protecting your ecosystem, supercharging your food chains, disrupting others, or letting you do wild moves like massive invasions or immunity to other power cards. So how do you actually win? To win ByeO Barelands, you must be the first player to achieve both of these conditions in a single ecosystem. First, reach 50 total score across all food chains in that ecosystem. Second, build at least one complete food chain that runs from tier 1 all the way up to tier 5. Your total score comes mainly from the power points and effects of your native cards. Non-native invaders don't contribute to your score, even if they're powerful. Here's how to set up the game. Shuffle the deck and place it in the center of the table, with space nearby for a discard pile. Each player starts with one bird-attracting plant card as the base of their ecosystem. Place it in front of you as your first tiered 1 card. Then, every player draws 5 cards from the deck as their starting hand. The game is played in rounds. In each round, every player gets 1 turn in order. At the start of each new round, every player draws or discards until they are back to exactly 5 cards in hand, unless a card effect changes their hand limit. During your turn, you may take up to 2 actions. You can choose the same action twice, or mix and match. You have 4 possible actions: establish, invade, exchange, and refresh. Establish means playing a ByeO card into your own ecosystem, adding it to an existing food chain, or starting a new food chain with a tier 1 card. Invade means playing a ByeO card into another player's ecosystem. Cards you place through invasion become non-native in that ecosystem. They're turned upside down to show this. They still function, but their power points do not count towards that player's total score, and they can't be moved by that player. Exchange means discarding 1 card from your hand, then drawing 1 card from the deck. Refresh lets you discard your entire hand, then draw back up to your hand limit. It's a hard reset if your current hand doesn't fit your strategy. On your turn, you're also allowed to rearrange ByeO cards within your own ecosystem to try and save food chains or optimize your layout. Moving cards around in your own ecosystem does not cost an action, but you may only move them on your turn. Also, non-native and tier 1 cards cannot be moved once placed. Food chains are the backbone of ByeO Barelands. Every food chain must start from a tier 1 card at the bottom. From there, you build upwards, placing predators above their prey. A predator-prey relationship is valid only if all of these conditions are met. The prey's type matches one of the predator's diet options. The predator's power points are greater than the prey's power points. The predator shares at least 1 habitat trait with its prey, and no card effect is breaking or modifying these rules. If any of these conditions fail, that predator cannot legally be established there or used to invade that target. Now let's talk about supporting. By default, each ByeO card can support 1 predator, meaning 1 card above it in the food chain. Some cards and power cards allow a card to support more than one predator. If a card ends up with more predators than it can support, it becomes overwhelmed. When a card is overwhelmed, flip it face down in place. It drops out of the ecosystem. It no longer provides power points, and its effect stops working. Overwhelmed cards remain in the chain until the end of that player's next turn. After that, they are sent to the discard pile. From Tier 2 upwards, any ByeO card that does not have a valid prey beneath it is considered starving. To show that, you rotate the card to the side. A starving card still remains part of the ecosystem for now, but if it is still starving at the end of that player's next turn, it is discarded as well. At the end of each turn, resolve things in this order. First, flip any overwhelmed cards. Second, predators may now automatically feed further down the chain if their prey disappeared and a new valid prey is exposed. Third, you may still rearrange your own cards within that ecosystem to rescue chains where possible. Finally, any cards that are still starving or overwhelmed when it's time to check are discarded.